Hello and welcome to This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. On this week's presentation, we bring you highlights of the featured address delivered by Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustapha at the 52nd flag-raising ceremony held here in Region 6 in New Amsterdam, more particularly at State House on Tuesday night, the eve of our MASH celebrations this year, our Republic anniversary that is. And of course, in that presentation, he spoke about the bright future that is in store for Region 6 in terms of development. We hear about the oil find in Berbice and what that will mean for development, for infrastructural development here in Region 6. And of course, we will also feature on this program some of the cultural presentations that were presented there at that flag-raising ceremony. There were some standout presentations by our youth here in Region 6, more particularly in New Amsterdam. So we'll be bringing you some of those features which I thought stood out in that cultural presentation put together by the RDC of Region 6. This Week in Agriculture is produced for television by Matrix Video Productions and Advertising based in East Berbice. We will be back after these messages.
In 2018, the Parliament of Guyana passed the Animal Welfare Act. This act deals with the welfare of animals and provides for their protection, health and other connected matters. Under the act, it is an offense to subject an animal to unnecessary pain, suffering, fear or injury. By various methods, increase the aggressiveness of animals. Give an animal any stimulant or illegal substance in order to improve their performance in sports, competitions, and shows. Abandon an animal, whether domestic, companion, while kept under your control. Transport an animal without the permission and the certificate of approval of the means of transport from the competent authority. Use inhumane methods to slaughter or kill an animal. Fail to adhere to the principles of keeping animals as outlined under Part 5 of the Act. Seek the requisite permission to breed 3 or more companion animals for the purpose of selling the offsprings. For more information and details on the Animal Welfare Act, number 18 of 2018, visit the Ministry of Agriculture's website or GLEA's Facebook page. A message from the Guyana Livestock Development Authority, Ministry of Agriculture. In October 2016, the Kigali Amendment was adopted by all parties to the Montreal Protocol. This included Guyana. The Kigali Amendment brings the future production and the consumption of refrigeration gases under the Montreal Protocol through the phase-out of these ozone-depleting substances and their replacement with substances that are more environmentally friendly. To this end, the Hydromet Service has begun local preparations for Guyana's ratification and eventual compliance with the requirements of the Kigali Amendment. This will require legislative interventions, consultations with all stakeholders and the public at large about what changes will have to be made locally over the next few years. These consultations will begin shortly and will be advertised on all print and broadcast media platforms as well as on social media. For more information, visit the Hydromet website at hydromet.gov.gy. A message from the Hydromet Service, Ministry of Agriculture. Government has committed to assisting coconut farmers across the country in their efforts at expanding their cultivations. This help will come through the clearing of vegetation and digging of internal drainage and irrigation channels. Farmers can also expect help in the form of technical support through NARI and the Hope Estate. Further, coconut seedling nurseries have been established in various regions as part of a decentralization program for nurseries. Coconut seedlings are now available. These are the 5, 3, and 18-month varieties. Farmers are reminded that the recommended number of trees per acre is 50. Persons interested in purchasing seedlings may make contact with Hope Estate on telephone number 663-2709. Once the booking is made, seedlings can be picked up from a nursery nearest you. A message from the management of Hope Estate, Ministry of Agriculture. The use of coils as mosquito repellent is a long-established practice in most Guyanese homes. However, in recent times, an influx of illegally imported coils have been flooding the local markets. Laboratory tests conducted on a range of these illegal products have revealed alarming quantities of dangerous chemicals that can prove harmful to humans, especially babies and the elderly. Do not buy these coils. Buy pesticides from licensed pesticide dealers only. A message from the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, Ministry of Agriculture. On Tuesday last, the Regional Democratic Council of Region 6 hosted a well-put-together flag-raising ceremony to mark Guyana's achievement of its 52nd year as a republic. That ceremony featured an exciting variety of cultural presentations that showcased the talent of New Amsterdam's youth. The feature presentation at that event was presented by Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustapha. Leading up to his presentation, though, were those by the mayor of the town of New Amsterdam, Ms. Winifred Haywood, regional chairman, Mr. David Armagan, and regional executive officer, Mr. Passot. In his feature address, Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustapha spoke of the significance of this year's anniversary, which finds Guyana on the cusp of realizing its full potential in terms of all-round development of not only infrastructure, but of its human resource, the people of this land.
Today, on the eve of Guyana's 52nd anniversary as a republic, let me bring you greetings from His Excellency the President, Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali, the government of Guyana, and on my own behalf. As I stand here, I share with you the joy of being able to celebrate, as we heard why we should celebrate. A number of speakers who spoke just now said the reason why we should celebrate as a nation. And today, we are celebrating because 52 years ago, when we made that bold decision to become a nation and sever links from our colonial masters, we made it with a view that we will be masters of our own destiny. And after 52 years, we went through a lot as a people. We went through many trials and tribulations. And today I am happy to say that as a nation, we are successful and we are moving our country from one, as we heard the regional chairman said, that was a poor or a highly poor in-debt country to one today of a middle-income country. And that's a plus for us, because when we made that bold step 52 years ago, we heard many persons had big dreams and aspirations. And I want to tell you, as a minister in this government, that we are close. We are close, and we are already achieving those dreams and aspirations that we dreamt 52 years ago. Brothers and sisters, our country is a great country. Guyana have carved for ourselves a national characteristic that distinguishes us from other countries. We are hard-working people committed to making our country prosperous. We are blessed, and we heard the development that will come. We heard what our country future look like. We heard it from the president and many other leaders in this country that our country will move rapidly over the next few years. But as I said, we are a country blessed and have been endowed with resources. Besides our most valuable resources, our people, Guyana possesses priceless treasures that make us who we are. And let me ask the rhetorical question tonight, who we are. And I want to say, we are Guyana, the land of many waters, from rivers and plains, who were made rich by the sunshine and the lush rains. We are Guyana home to the largest single drop waterfall and the most famous in the world, our very own Kaichur Falls. We are Guyana, blessed with bauxite, diamond, and gold. We are Guyana, rivers with the largest freshwater fish, the giant Arupima. We are Guyana, home to the Pacaraima mountain ranges. And today, we are Guyana, now an oil and gas producing nation.
Minister Mustapha said that more importantly, we are one people, one nation, sharing one destiny. It is based on this premise that President Dr. Irfaan Ali has been promoting a one Guyana approach to development, one that takes into consideration the global and domestic challenges that face us all as a nation. He posited that it is only through a unified approach that the path to prosperity will be cleared and traveled successfully. The Agriculture Minister noted that Region 6 will begin to benefit this year from massive development as a result of the proceeds of oil and gas, developments that will see the region transformed into an agriculture powerhouse.
As we celebrate yet another milestone of self-governance, we must feel a sense of collective pride as the state of our nationhood, as it enters an unprecedented phase of tremendous development. Under our President One Guyana vision, our government and all regions across this country will see unprecedented development. And friends, I want to tell you, your region, Region 6, is no exception. Whilst we are developing a new industry, whilst we recognize that as an emerging oil and gas producing country, that we'll have a lot of wealth creation, a lot of opportunities, but as a government, we recognize also the importance of other sectors in the country's development. That is why you will recognize His Excellency the President is so passionate to develop the other sectors. And we must use resources, and we will use resources from the oil and gas sectors to develop the other sectors of our country. Today, Guyana is taking the world by storm. Today, Guyana is taking its rightful place once again in the region. Our President, His Excellency, Dr. Mohamed Irfaan Ali, is once again leading the agricultural and food agenda in CARICOM. Guyana is that leading light where members of CARICOM are looking to Guyana for leadership. And Guyana is driving the agri-food system. And we recognize that as a government. That is why we have placed an increased budgetary allocation over the years in this important sector. Because we recognize that for us to overcome poverty, to overcome hunger, we must be food secure, first of all, nationally, and then regionally. We are working very hard with our partners in CARICOM so that in 2025, we can reduce the food import bill of CARICOM by 25%. That means region like Region 6 will have to play a very important role if we have Guyana have to contribute to that. Because as an agriculture region, you will have to up your game. And over the next few years, you will see massive projects in Region 6. We have already started to construct Farm to Market Road, where thousands of acres of land will be opened up so that cultivations in Region 6 can be increased. This year also, we'll see the construction of a massive, or the start of the construction of a massive Hope-like Canal in Region 6. You all remember not so long ago, the entire region and the entire country was affected by the flood. We heard from the police constable just now who read that poem what the pandemic have caused us over the last 2 years. But as a resilient people, as a people who strive always to overcome difficulties, I am very optimistic, and I am sure that we will overcome all the difficulties that comes our way.
Minister was at pains to posit, though, that Region 6 will not only be an agricultural powerhouse in terms of its development thrust, but will also be an oil-producing region in the country.
Very recently, we have discovered also in Region 6 oil right here, and that will boost the economy. That will create thousands of jobs for people in and around Region 6. So you will see your regional economy will take off. We are looking to also, we are working very closely with our neighbors to bridge the Quarantine River. When we bridge the Quarantine River, more economic activities will be opened up in Region 6. More housing schemes and housing development will be coming to Region 6. I want to tell you that the infrastructure in Region 6 will change. Millions of dollars will be spent on the improvement of roads, drainage and irrigation, and other infrastructure. This year also, the government will be build a brand new hospital up on the Quarantine in Skeldon and enhance the other hospitals in the region so that we can be prepared to ensure that we deal with the problems, health issue in the region, rather than to refer them to Georgetown. And not so long ago, we are working also as a government, because when you go to an election, you go with commitments. And when you became the government, when you become the government, now those commitments become policies. And I want to tell you that we have delivered a number of those commitments already. Thousands of people who had lost their jobs are today, most of them are today once again occupied gainfully economically. We are working, we are advancing the work to reopen the Rosal estate. And I'm very optimistic, not so long from now, Rosal will once again produce sugar to the community in Region 6. Those are the commitments, those are the big things that come in our way. So as a nation, we must appreciate what we have and where we'll go.
He said the eyes of the world are upon us, and many of the world's business interests are seeing Guyana as the source of their salvation, and we must all be ready for the opportunities that will be ripe for the taking.
Because they recognize the importance of this country, that the role that this country will play in the future. But as a government, we recognize it also, and that is why we are putting safeguard to protect our people. To protect our people. We heard the regional chairman just talk about the local content bill that we have passed so that Guyanese can be involved in the oil and gas sector to supply those things. And when you do that, you will see a whole chain of activities. A whole chain of activities economically. So brothers and sisters, as we celebrate tonight, as we celebrate tomorrow, as we heard that we cannot physically go into the street with our floats, but I am very optimistic in the near future we will once again have the chance to go into the street to celebrate this Republic anniversary. Let us use it to rededicate our energies towards the development of our beautiful country. We have an obligation, and that obligation that we have is to our children and the future generation of our country. And whatever we do now will impact their future. And I want to tell you that our government is working every single day, day in, day out. We are being led by a young, dynamic, workaholic president that pushes us to get things done. And as a country, we are moving. We are moving, and we are moving aggressively. We are moving speedily. And I am very optimistic that in the near future, we will reach our goal.
The flag-raising ceremony featured several cultural presentations, as I mentioned earlier. Here are a few clips of those performances. We start with this rendition by a young teacher of the Berbice High School.
I've been walking with my face turned to the sun. Weight on my shoulders, bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to our brand new home, far across the river. Can you hear freedom calling, calling me to answer? Gotta keep on keeping on, and I can feel it from early in the morning, before the sun begins to shine, we gotta start moving towards that separating line. I'm wading through muddy waters. You know I got a made up mind, and I don't mind if I lose any blood on the way to salvation. But I fight with the strength that I got until I die. So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are.
don't think they'll stop we. Now we living happy. Anytime you see me, drinking with my worry. This is what they sing. Are we demonstrating? This is how we farming. If you see we farking, and the lorry choking, in the sun she's sweating, with the axe are cutting, and the lorry raking, with the guinea soil, we rooting down in style. If you see this Indian, like the queen of sweet land, she say agriculture really give you pleasure. All around your backyard, you can do some joking. It can be a bit hard. Try it for the morning. This is how we farming. If you see we farking, and the lorry choking.
In October 2016, the Kigali Amendment was adopted by all parties to the Montreal Protocol. This included Guyana. The Kigali Amendment brings the future production and the consumption of refrigeration gases under the Montreal Protocol through the phase-out of these ozone-depleting substances and their replacement with substances that are more environmentally friendly. To this end, the Hydromet Service has begun local preparations for Guyana's ratification and eventual compliance with the requirements of the Kigali Amendment. This will require legislative interventions, consultations with all stakeholders and the public at large about what changes will have to be made locally over the next few years. These consultations will begin shortly and will be advertised on all print and broadcast media platforms as well as on social media. For more information, visit the Hydromet website at hydromet.gov.gy. A message from the Hydromet Service, Ministry of Agriculture. Government has committed to assisting coconut farmers across the country in their efforts at expanding their cultivations. This help will come through the clearing of vegetation and digging of internal drainage and irrigation channels. Farmers can also expect help in the form of technical support through NARI and the Hope Estate. Further, coconut seedling nurseries have been established in various regions as part of a decentralization program for nurseries. Coconut seedlings are now available. These are the 5, 3, and 18-month varieties. Farmers are reminded that the recommended number of trees per acre is 50. Persons interested in purchasing seedlings may make contact with Hope Estate on telephone number 663-2709. Once the booking is made, seedlings can be picked up from a nursery nearest you. A message from the management of Hope Estate, Ministry of Agriculture. The use of coils as mosquito repellent is a long-established practice in most Guyanese homes. However, in recent times, an influx of illegally imported coils have been flooding the local markets. Laboratory tests conducted on a range of these illegal products have revealed alarming quantities of dangerous chemicals that can prove harmful to humans, especially babies and the elderly. Do not buy these coils. Buy pesticides from licensed pesticide dealers only. A message from the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board, Ministry of Agriculture.
Well, that's all the time we have on this week's edition of This Week in Agriculture, a presentation of the Communications Unit, Ministry of Agriculture. I'm your producer and host, Christopher Holder. Remember, this program comes to you every Sunday at this time and is broadcast in several TV stations and, of course, is aired, posted on Facebook, the Ministry of Agriculture's page there. Social media. So until next time then, I'm Christopher Holder on behalf of the entire production team saying so long, see you around.